Bitcoin is in a pretty bullish trend right now, and there really haven't been many pullbacks for Bitcoin. And on the lower time frames, yeah, we are stalling out as we hit some of the resistance areas. We're kind of forming small ranges, and this is where alts are kind of pumping, is when Bitcoin starts ranging. I have to say it does kind of feel like a bull market. All right, so this is going to be just a quick Bitcoin update, going over what has happened recently and also zooming out, taking a look at how things are developing overall. I want to give my thoughts on this price action. I want to see if I can identify some important levels to pay attention to, and I'll also talk a little bit about my approach and how I'm trading this. So, starting off by stating the obvious, Bitcoin is in a pretty bullish trend right now. We have been in this uptrend, a pretty aggressive uptrend. Let's see how much we pumped from the lows. About 180% from the lows. And right now we are sitting kind of in the middle of this price action from its all-time high to this recent low. We are essentially back to trading inside of this massive range. For a while we were kind of holding resistance on the low end of this range, but recently we have broken back into it, and quite aggressively, I must say. And there really haven't been many pullbacks for Bitcoin. There were in the beginning. We found heavy resistance in this area, but this last leg of price action has been almost vertical. And on the lower time frames, yeah, we are stalling out as we hit some of the resistance areas. We're kind of forming small ranges, and this is where alts are kind of pumping, is when Bitcoin starts ranging. I have to say it does kind of feel like a bull market. But one problem with that, especially with this most recent leg of price action, is, as of right now, we really haven't formed any solid foundation for this move to the upside. Previously we saw nice retracements after the aggressive moves up, coming down to retest key areas before getting another move to the upside. We had another retrace here. This was more of like a large range. And, this wick is pretty important right here because that is basically the last time that we had a significant liquidity grab, on a high time frame. We took out a high time frame liquidity point, place where probably a lot of people had their stop losses for their swing longs, and that was really the last liquidity grab that we saw. There really have not been any significant liquidity grabs. In fact, we've been leaving lots of liquidity intact, and we saw a very similar thing here. Back in this time, if you were watching my videos, you would know that I was not really expecting this wick to be the low, especially after seeing how this liquidity developed below this area. We kept putting in higher lows. It looked like easy liquidity to grab, and I thought ultimately taking out this low with a wick and then coming up to break, local structure would have been the better play. But as you can see, we never grabbed that liquidity. From there, we got to move up to break weekly structure and began forming this channel, which again left lots of liquidity below it. And at this point, I was really expecting that we would get a retrace here. We were running into significant resistance. We had a massive range that we had formed down here, which we just broke out of and had yet to retest. And there was even some inefficient price action here that I was paying attention to. Ultimately, I thought it made sense to get a retracement. But, I was not ignorant to the fact that we might not get that retracement. We might just pump up above that significant, resistance that we were holding in this area. I was aware that, hey, maybe we end up leaving this liquidity here, breaking above that significant resistance, similar to, what we did back here. And another thing I noted in some of my more recent videos is that I thought if this happens, there's, a good chance that at some point we probably will retrace, get rid of that liquidity, and, at that point, maybe then we can actually continue on with bullishness. But, I don't think it makes a whole lot of sense to just continue straight up like this. I don't really see the point in that because usually when you go straight up, you tend to go straight back down. And that's kind of what I'm looking at here. And I actually think it would be more bullish in the long term to get a massive move to the downside, to get a nice, healthy retracement before continuing a healthy uptrend. I think a healthy retracement makes for a healthy uptrend. And, in my opinion, it seems like that's the most likely outcome. Whether we retrace from here or if we head higher before retracing, I think we probably will retrace at some point. I think, this has the makings to be a healthy uptrend. We're not really seeing any overly bearish signs as we got this move to the upside. We're seeing, weekly momentum put in higher highs, no divergences there. We're seeing money flow put in higher highs. And yeah, we are seeing divergences on some lower time frames. I'm sure we're still seeing those 4-hour bearish divs continue. And I mean, we technically are, but not looking as bad, honestly, right now. Money flow is getting pretty thick in the green again. Even though we are seeing divergences on some time frames, I think the ones that matter the most are, kind of looking not bearish at all, especially this daily now that this momentum wave has made a higher high. Money flow has also made a higher high. We have already avoided the bearish divergences that we were forming. We were seeing bear divs with momentum, not money flow though, which was making me, ultimately more bullish. But despite that, I think it still would be ultimately more healthy for us to get a retracement at some point. But at this point, it seems like we may pump up a good bit higher before actually getting that retracement. Now, maybe not. We are still running into a significant resistance here, but there is also some more significant resistance above us. And there are a lot of zones that I'm watching personally that I'm not going to share on YouTube. If you want to know what I'm talking about, join Jason Casper's VIP Discord and check out White Phoenix. He's a great trader, and I'm learning a lot from him. But there are some significant resistances that I can talk about. So let's go over those. So first thing that we can pretty obviously see, we have a golden pocket of this entire bear market lining up around this value area high area. And this volume profile is something I've talked about, for a while. I was looking at these levels as, key resistance for us on this move to the upside. We found resistance on the value area low, and we even found resistance on the point of control for a little bit, and when we broke above it, we got a very aggressive move. So, you can see that these levels are being respected to a degree. And the next one that we have coming up is this value area high. Now, another interesting thing that I noticed, if you pull this value area over to here, that actually moves the point of control up. So that moves the point of control to about 47K. And if I mark that out and I drag this volume profile back to where I had it, which is right about there, you can see that this is a high volume node in this pulse. So point of control is measuring where the most volume is. You can see there is a volume spike here, and the highest volume node is where the point of control is. And there's another very high volume node up here. This is like the next closest thing to being the point of control of this range. There was like slightly less volume here than here. But for some reason, when you extend it over, the point of control moves up. So either way, I think this 47K area is another very significant level. And it's lining up right before the golden pocket. So, I would honestly look at this whole zone in between that value area high and this high volume node / golden pocket as being the next key resistance that I'm watching. And I think this zone makes sense just based on range rotation rules. If we get a move up to this area and we reject from the high of the range, there's a good chance that we rotate back to the low end of the range, which again I think would make for a healthy retracement. So that is an idea that I wouldn't mind happening. I would actually like that. I think that'd be healthier for the long term. Maybe we begin ranging within this old value area again. Maybe we kind of form like a larger range where maybe this new larger value area gets respected a bit more. Maybe it changes a bunch. But at this point, I would be very surprised if we actually broke significantly above this zone. I don't think it makes a whole lot of sense to go straight for the all-time high right now. So I would probably expect to find resistance in this zone. And I mean, if we don't reject from there, maybe we are just pumping straight up to the all-time high at that point. I don't know. There are other resistances in the way, like you can look at the 786. You can look at maybe some other resistances that we have previously, but for the most part, it seems like this range has been respected in terms of what a range is supposed to do. When you break out of a range, you typically find resistance on it, and then when you break back into a range, you tend to trade within the boundaries of that range. But now let's get into how I'm kind of trading this price action, because I know this type of market, these kind of conditions can be difficult to trade, especially if you're trying to trade it on a higher time frame. Like, I don't think right now is the time to be looking for swing positions unless you see some reason to open a swing short. But until I see evidence of bearishness, I'm not opening any swing shorts. So how am I approaching trading this price action? Well, what did I say is really happening here? Bitcoin is getting aggressive moves to the upside and then ranging before breaking above and finding resistance on the next key level, ranging for a bit, and then repeating the process, breaking out and then ranging. So, you know me, I like my range trading. I'm going to wait for these ranges to form, and I'm going to look for my trade setups inside those areas. That's the way I trade most of the time anyway. And these range ideas can still play into your higher time frame ideas. Like if you're expecting Bitcoin to continue this trend of ranging and then breaking out to the upside, maybe you want to look for longs inside this range. Look to, lock in the trades inside the range, take profits, put your stop loss at entry. If you get stopped out, look for another long. You could even take shorts at the high end of the range to hedge. I've been doing that. And, Boyan said it best in Jason Casper's YouTube stream the other day. He is holding his shorts for short and he's holding his longs for long. Meaning, you can still lock in profits on your longs, take profits when you have them, but I myself have been keeping a portion of my trades open for, if we do get that breakout, if we do continue that trend. And that is how I got into my last swing long. My last swing long that I entered was actually right in this little tiny range that we had here. So I took, a low time frame scalp trade, locked in profits, put my stop loss to entry, and I set my TPs higher. And yeah, it ended up running. And I'm still in this trade. I'm still, potentially looking to hold this for higher. But that's really the way I'm approaching trading this right now. Is I'm waiting for these ranges to form and looking for trade setups inside of them. All right, well, that's pretty much it for this video. I don't want to get too technical with things. I just kind of want to give my general thoughts and feelings on the market right now and kind of, give an update as to how I'm trading this price action. Thank you, everybody, for watching. If you enjoyed, please consider leaving a like and subscribing. Also, leaving a comment. All of that stuff helps to support my channel, and I really appreciate it. And I will see you all in the next video.